Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland was in a closed session that began at 9:16 p.m. The session was closed under the general provisions of Article subsection 3-305B for reason number one, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, and any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. The members that voted to go into close, I'm sorry, the time of the closed session was 9:16. It was here at the town municipal building. The members who voted to go into closed session were Councilmember Noble, Councilmember Little, Councilmember Hines, Councilmember Brownson, Councilmember Kennedy, Council President McDonald, Mayor Lilly. And those who attended the closed session were Councilmember Noble, Councilmember Little, Councilmember Hines, Councilmember Brownson, Councilmember Kennedy, Council President McDonald, Mr. Kevin Best, Mr. John O'Connor, Ms. Latoya Chisholm. And the topics actually discussed were personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals relating to an official of the town and conduct of officials. The number of the actions taken were none. And we are back in closed session to move to the next item on our agenda, which are the department head reports. These reports were distributed in advance. Are there any questions for the department head reports?
Mr. Mayor, correction, we're back in open session. You said closed session.
We're back in open session. If I said closed, my apologies. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're hearing none. We're back in open session. Yeah, we're back in open session. I stated that department head reports were distributed in advance, and I asked if there are any questions about the department head reports at this time. Okay, Councilmember Brownson. No, but town administrator's here. If there's a note that needs to be delivered to staff, he can do so.
I would go with the first one, community engagement. The community engagement report about the White House visit tour. And I was wondering, was there any Forest Heights students, or was the representative for Forest Heights, the student government individual, young man, was he present at this?
The youth ambassador?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that question. That's a good question for Mr. Holland. Mr. O'Connor, can you find out if the youth ambassador took part in that White House trip?
Yes.
Was he there? Was he there?
He's in.
I don't have, it's not a,
I see it, but I can't identify these people. And if so, if not, then I'm wondering, why do we need to know this? You know, yeah. I mean, and then I have another question for him with the Thirst Baptist Church Turkey Drive. Did they have an estimate of how many people they served?
well, I don't have the answer, but I know that there were at least 50 turkeys distributed. And one thing that I forgot to mention in the report, I'll forward a letter, thank you letter from Third Baptist. One of the folks who works on their team sent a letter over thanking the town for collaborating on the event with them, and that it helped them to have a successful event, and they're looking forward to partnering in the future. But I believe it's at minimum 50 turkeys. Is that correct, Mr. O'Connor? Do we know? Okay.
I mean, to me, if in the future, if that type of information could go into reports, I think it would be very helpful.
Yes, I think we are moving toward delivering metrics and allowing the council to understand the impact, how many, how much,
Right.
how long. So point taken.
The reason the White House is in there, Mr. Mayor, is because Mr. Holland works for District 8 as well. So he just wants to keep you up to date with what's going on. So that's the reason for that. But I'll find out about the youth investor.
Okay.
We,
Council President McDonald, do you have another question, or was that it?
well, do you want just one report at a time, and then I'll go through all of them? You're gonna do one report at a time?
If you have questions on more than one.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have questions on this one? Let's let Council President go to the report that's,
Okay.
is it youth related? Okay.
So then I had a question for the treasurer's report. He said he drafted Q2 FY budget amendment. And I was wondering, he drafted it, are we gonna see it? You know,
Mr. O'Connor can answer.
December 18th.
I'm sorry?
December 18th meeting. We got it too late to put on this agenda.
Okay.
So it'll be out in the next agenda. And I believe I sent a copy over to Mr. Best just for his legal review as well.
And I had another question about on that is the bullet number 2, research town reserve policy and legislation in participation for MGLIP recommendation. And I was wondering, what is that on?
So the town originally created a called reserve fund. And I forget the charter amendment off the top of my head, but it was under Mayor Goodall, which funding can be put into the reserve fund. So it was a matter of researching that and making sure it aligned with contemporary standards, and we could still do that in order to put money into a reserve versus rolling it over. That is the case, so money can go into reserve. The preparation for MGLIP recommendation, it's some backup research. Right now, the town holds its money in a bank account that earns nothing.
Like
Or
us.
close to nothing in
Mhm.
interest. So the idea is to move it to MGLIP, which most municipalities use, which can, I believe it's anywhere from 4 to 7% interest based on the money that's invested and the market rate. So rather than letting our money sit there and not do anything month to month, this will allow it to at least earn some interest. Mr. Frankenfield will be able to brief you on the very particulars of that, but we do have that legislation prepped and ready to go at this point to send to council for consideration.
Okay. So do we have money to invest?
And let me just interject. It would be funds that are sitting in the town's accounts when it's not being used. So over a period of like the money that you see reported in the report each month that's there that has not been paid out or that is sitting is allowed to earn interest in that scenario. It's kind of like if you were to think of a money market account where you have a checking account, you can take money from it, but it earns interest while it's in there.
Yeah, we're not diverting money for investment funds. We're not doing that.
Okay, and then I had, I'm sorry. And then I had another question for Mr. Frankenstein on this cash report. He has $690,000, and it says other transfer from other agencies, and I was wondering what that meant. That's all.
Yes. So we were talking about this. I believe a good portion of this would be transfers in from either taxes, fees, grants, and other outside entities in which we receive disbursements from. So, and it was balanced across and then went into our actual totals. If you'd like a breakdown of what the transfers in were, I can request that from Mr. Frankenfield.
Because it's under unrestricted funds.
Yeah, the general fund, it's not in restricted. So if it gets moved from a grant or it's reconciled, or it comes in as tax revenue, it's unrestricted. It's just in the general fund.
Yeah, it sounds like we'll get the answer from Mr. Frankenfield. He'll be able to tell you
Yeah,
exactly
right.
what the distribution was.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Council President McDonald, then I'll come to you.
Question about because I wasn't sure if we reallocated the funds for council to use for different projects and activities that I think it was like $5,000 for each council person that was allocated at one point.
On the budget, you mean?
It wasn't, it changed in FY25's budget
Yeah.
to be less than it was in the past.
Right, that's what so that's why I'm asking and bringing it up. So what was the amount, what is the amount now, Mr. O'Connor?
One second, I will pull up the FY25 budget. and
Okay.
Let you know.
And then I wanted to go back to what Council Brownson had brought up in terms of the December 18th and the item that you had brought up, Council Brownson,
Which one?
for the treasurer's report?
Uh-huh.
What was that item?
Uh,
One of them was the reserve fund, the one before the reserve fund.
In his report, let's see. Treasury report. Drafting FY 25 budget amendments and.
Oh,
that
budget
it-
amendments for
yeah.
25.
Mhm.
Okay.
For the
Thank you.
second quarter, as you said.
Q2.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I had questions for other reports.
And so do I.
So, okay, so, question
My
about.
apologies. Did you have one related to this?
Yeah,
Council-
still in treasury.
Council, okay,
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead and ask
Yeah.
it. Go ahead and ask it.
Thank you.
I know in October, there was, two resolutions, I think 201 for the police department to receive funding, but I don't think I've been absent, but I don't remember seeing them. So one was like 29,000, one was 30,000.
Oh, that was approved last meeting.
Mhm.
Oh, was it?
Mhm.
I must have been sleeping, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, we will have another one coming though, for another grant that we just got awarded.
Thank you.
Council President?
Okay, so I had a couple, for the town administrator report. So one is, are we finished with fiscal year, 23 audit? I see that we are done with 22. Where are we with fiscal year 23?
So 2022's is done, been distributed. 23, we're hoping end of January, February, best case scenario.
Okay, and then I see you noted here, Ms. O'Connor, about the feasibility for the newsletter and it not being financially viable moving forward. So you're bringing this to the attention of the council. So I guess we would need to know what the cost is. What is the amount allotted for the budget? What's been the expense? And what is the recommendation for addressing the ineffectiveness of how we're distributing it now?
So the newsletter expenses are $4,000.
$4,000 a month?
No,
In
for
the-
the
in
whole
the
entire,
budget.
for the full fiscal year.
Oh,
we're
for
giving-
the fiscal year, yes.
Right, 4,000. Where we're gonna blow through that very easily, just with mailing, printing, paper, ink, everything that goes along with it. We're pretty much almost there. We're gonna need a budget amendment to continue past January in order for that particular line item. Fortunately, we did get some grant funding in that's gonna help us out a little bit with restoring some of the cash flow, but $4,000 to do the newsletter is not feasible. The actual number for the entire year is probably more like $15,000 to $30,000.
Based on the way we're doing it right now,
Yes,
in-house.
in-house, yes. And
And
mind
is
you,
that including, that's like what, staff time and,
that's everything, the
human
toner, the
costs and the
paper,
physical
the
costs.
delivery, the postage, everything that goes into it. That's accounted for across several different other line items as well. So I think.
Oh, okay, also, based on the newsletter, there are
I'm sorry.
people there are residents on Shoshone that have not gotten the newsletter. So I wanted to bring that up, Mr. O'Connor, that if we could make sure that the residents on Shoshone get the newsletter, because that was brought to my attention. Also, in your report, you mentioned the grants and financial management for Black Hawk.
Yes.
And that unfortunately, new grant requests, personnel issues, and other events are prohibiting you from moving forward entirely with this grant. So what are the next steps?
So what I need some bandwidth to be able to do it. So any new grant that I submit pushes an old grant to the side. There's constant grants from the police department that are gimmies that we get every year that have to be put in. But when I get new grants or any personnel issues that come up, you know, any type of personnel issue is usually lengthy to deal with. So it pushes my time frame down. I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to deal with the personnel issue. Then I can come back to what I'm doing. So I just need to get the bandwidth to get the Black Hawk Lane project up and running. Wrote that just as a, hey, this is the status update of where I'm at. Constantly looking for solutions. Ms. Chisholm's with us now, so that's alleviated some of what I have to deal with. But we also have the election coming up, so that tightens up my bandwidth as well as Ms. Chisholm's. So either way, it's a matter of time management, but not adding anything new moving forward to the plate. That's gonna be the thing past I would say this month, but just focus on what we got and move from there, because we have the stormwater grant going in and we have the community garden grant, which is in and being reviewed. But I don't have any more bandwidth to add more grants right now.
Question, can Greenwell help with writing grants?
That'd be great if Greenwell could.
We've asked in the past and they said they could. Let's ask that again. They provide support with writing grants. So if we get the information so they can, I'm not promising that they can do it, but they have said it's something they can help with. So maybe they can provide some additional bandwidth.
If there's grants that come out of there and they're out of left field, then if we can get Greenwell to kind of help out with that, that'd be great. That'll get me the chance to get the HUD grant off the ground. It's labor intensive. It's not just the grant. It's the procurement process, the federal area, everything that has to be done with it. So it just got to be done right.
So I guess to that point, ma'am, Lily.
Yes,
Yeah.
Council President.
So I thought if we, and I don't remember the name that we said we could employ a PG County grant writer if we were caught up on our audits, right?
Circuit rider.
Circuit writer.
So are we still on, I guess, par to getting that kind of support if we're now almost up to date with our audits?
Once we get FY25's audit submitted in October, we'll be considered up to date.
Wouldn't be
Not
FY24.
24.
FY24 will happen.
Oh,
FY24 will happen the first half of
We're
the year.
in,
We're
yeah,
in
24 for October,
Right.
and then when we come back around, by the time the opening for, you have to apply for the circuit rider on a grant, will be time for FY25. So that'll be submitted, that audit will be FY26 for the circuit rider, because that's just closed.
And when does it open again?
Should be FY26.
FY26, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Councilmember, who was first? Did you all see? Councilmember Noble.
In the past, we had residents who have skills who are willing to assist where they live. So some things we could maybe put in the newsletter. What we need, volunteers to do this grant writing. Are you, do you do grant writing? Just whatever. So let's kind of engage the community a little more. We have new residents. We have government workers who do all sorts of things, right? So let's try to engage our community, maybe. That's just a start.
Yes, if you know some folks, we can start to bolster that list. Love to hear and get their information. Councilmember Brownson.
And I was going, on your report, I haven't had a chance to read your report because I just got it, but when she talked about the newsletter, I was thinking that there were people that, one time we talked about having a committee to find strategies for the newsletter. And one thing I would suggest is that, I know the charter said we have to have a newsletter, but did it say we have to have a newsletter monthly? Maybe we can go to quarterly because there's really not that much information in there. So we might want to look at not doing it monthly, maybe on a quarterly basis or semi-annual basis, and just use the electric boards and things like that. And then we could engage the community in articles or writing things that's relevant and goes on and on and on. So that was-
Salient. That's a salient point, Councilmember, and also it allows us to lean on technology. We get folks to sign up for alerts and email. They can get things as they come out that are timely without us having to recreate it and distribute it by hand.
Mhm.
And then things that we put together that don't need to be out tomorrow can go out with planning and care.
And
And it also helps financially.
Right?
Council, Mr. O'Connor.
all of you signed up for the text alerts, right?
I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not.
you're not,
But then one time it just stopped and then they started back. So I don't know.
all right, we're gonna make sure all of you are signed up, because what I've been doing is trying to leverage technology, all the events for like the Christmas events and everything, I've been sending out. Or I've asked for it to be sent out,
Mhm.
the events.
Been getting them.
Okay,
Mhm.
good, because you know, the newsletter is great, but look, fact of the matter is, it's not always on time.
Right.
We're trying to get it out. Some people don't get it. So we're trying to use technology to our advantage, and get ahead of that. I deeply appreciate the quarterly or semi-annually suggestion.
Mhm.
So whatever we can do to accommodate that, please let me know what direction, because that will be a huge relief to staff and budgetarily speaking. So that'd be great.
We don't have enough information to be monthly for real.
Councilmember Hines.
I just want to ask, has December's newsletter gone out or is coming out? Is no,
No.
but anyway, you know, I've had a couple of residents say that, you know, what is the little kiosk that you were putting newsletters in? That's not even, you know, they didn't get November and they were just gonna go up to that particular stand and try to get some, but
We, the extra newsletters were done because of toner. So we didn't have the toner necessary to print all of the extra ones. We finally got that toner in, and paper. So we had to watch the budget on what paper we were buying, and we had to reconcile that, and then we got more paper. So we're watching what we're doing. It's just a timing thing. That's why I made sure I put it in my newsletter. I mean, newsletter, geez, my report.
On the news.
I need to go to Councilmember Little first. Is your mic on? So
Do we have something called channel board where like, it's a website or a channel where different, like a slideshow all day where information is presented at all times. I think it's called channel board.
Uh,
called electronic.
Yeah,
No, not
I-
electronic board, but it's like a website that you could go on and, a lot of municipalities use it. Well, a few that I know of. I don't know the correct name for it, but I can find it out. But it's like you could update it as often as you would like, and like it's constantly information going on, and that could be another option for newsletter and information to get out. However, we will have to get that out, how to use it. So, but that's an option.
I have my hand.
I need to go to Councilmember Noble. She was first,
Thank
and then
you.
I'll come to you.
Suggestion, we used to have like those poster things that when we announced the meetings.
yes.
So keeping with maybe doing the newsletter quarterly, if there are events or something happening in the town, that we could use those and put throughout the town. So, because we still need to consciously think about those who do not get on the computer, but want to see something in writing. So if we know this event is coming up, then we put the poster boards throughout the town. That's just a suggestion. Thank you.
I believe we have a television channel that we can take advantage of also.
Say that one more time, Councilmember Kennedy.
I believe that there is a television channel that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Um,
I believe
um,
it's like TV.
So
Yes. There's a channel that the town can get to display the meetings and messages.
it's usually channel 9 or 10. I'm not 9. It's usually channel 10. But either way, we're actually getting ready. The mayor I just sent it to him this evening, the franchise agreement, which shows all that information. So we'll be able to go through there and take a look at it. So it's pretty timely.
Council President, thank you.
Are we updating the the latest newsletter on the website is in May? I have residents rather, who they go online, they're looking for the most recent newsletter and it's not there. So they're looking for updates. If we could update the website with the recent information, that would be helpful. I think you mentioned too, Mr. O'Connor, that you all were going through a revitalization or some kind of IT infrastructure and changes and things of that nature.
Yeah, so.
But if we could update the newsletter, that would be helpful for some of the residents. Thank you.
So the old website is not being serviced right now, because they're building the new website. The old website was severely outdated, so they're not supporting the old one while they're building the new one. Rather than have it put like an under construction type thing that's there, we left it there because there's a lot of resolutions and historical information that's going to be pulled. So I was supposed to have a meeting today. The representative from Civic Plus was sick, so that didn't happen. It's being rescheduled, but it should be launched and it'll have the updated information, as well as something similar to what Councilmember Little was speaking about with all the slides that come back and forth on a banner of events. It's also supposed to have our calendar with all of our events synced, but it's not called what she said. It's something different.
Councilmember Brownson.
And it was updated, and people just call and get updated information. It was in place of marijuana.
Mike, please.
It was an information line. And people could call and get, when they're closed, trash pickup, what's happening next week and next month. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah. Do you remember that?
He was so proud of that.
Yeah.
It was,
Mm. You probably know. Yeah, but it was a telephone number like 839-4040 almost, but something like that. And people called and they could get information, which I found was very helpful. When the building is closed, just up to date information. And they could call it 24 hours.
There were some issues with that particular line. It was a
Oh,
240 number. Either way, what we can do, and this has already been brought up, which is good, is we can add another telephone number with the Ubiquity, which will have the AI attendant, and we can put everything in there so somebody doesn't have to record it. So that it basically, when you call 4040, you hit, are you looking for information about the town?
Right.
Boom. And it just goes through a list.
Exactly.
So we can work on that and get that deployed, and get it done so we don't need a separate number. This way our town number is already advertised. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mr. O'Connor, for this report. It's very, I guess, comprehensive, if you will, even though it's a short one, but under this enhanced fiduciary controls and financial oversight,
Yes.
do we have, I guess I've been trying to understand for a while now how we're aligning our expenses with strategic priorities and planning. So I see here that that's one item that is of interest to me. Do we have I guess, some kind of one pager of how we're doing and going about that?
I could put a one pager together, but what the ultimate goal is to your point, is to switch to a performance-based budget where the outcomes meet what you're doing. And if you're not meeting those outcomes, is the money well spent there? And this is not something that came to me. This is actually, I believe, a conversation with finance and the mayor. And performance-based budgeting is great. And I think that's where my highlight in that is, to start looking towards those strategic goals that are there for planning for 2-6, because I was asked to start looking at it from that perspective. No matter what, we need to be looking at it from that perspective anyway. So if you want a one pager on how I'm doing that, that's fine. I can quick get you something. Yeah.
One thing I'll add is that, we get our strategic objectives from doing a strategic planning process, which is council insight involvement, community involvement, and then a combination of 4 or 5 goals we're going to work on as we decide. One thing that we're looking to have administration do is present to council some ideas about, based on the requests that have come in and talking to some residents, this is where we think the objectives are. We want to bring those forward and get your insight and input and be like, yes, these are the correct ones, or no, this needs to be tweaked. Then once we have that, we'll have the framework for requesting the services of a team to help us do the strategic planning process. Then once we go through that, gather feedback, we can pass it as a council, and then we can look at aligning maybe FY26's budget to whatever those 4 or 5 objectives are that we have set. And then that can help us to begin to answer specifically what things did we say we would do, how do we tie funds to that, and are we meeting the goals, the measurable outcomes we determine? Any other questions for department head reports this month?
We get a recycling bin in the town.
There's
Can we get a recycling bin in the town?
one of the blue ones.
Yes.
Should be one in DPW already. I'll double check.
Okay. Just, we don't have any at all, I don't think. Yes, in town hall.
Oh, yeah, no, there should be one right in DPW in the door. I'll make it more visible. I don't think nobody used it forever.
When we have one that's going to be in a
The bottles.
just one moment. Could we have one that's going to be in the public space? Like, for example, if someone's in this room here, we would want them to have an opportunity to recycle.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I was thinking paper because everybody had paper. I was looking at paper. So yeah, we'll get the yes, the bins that separate corrugate.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor.
Councilmember Brownson? Okay. I thought we were done, but go ahead.
Mr. Val Davis, he said on 11/24, closed.
Is your mic on, Councilmember? I know. Want to make sure everyone can hear you.
My question was on Public Works Report, on page 4, 11/8/22, it's got closed. Mr. Valdelvis said that the community room 5508 Arapahoe Drive. I don't know, that's my question. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what he's saying here.
Page 4.
It's the 4th
Let me-
page I have stapled here.
Oh, community room 5508 Arapahoe Drive. It looks like when it was entered into iWorks that it was misspelling. So they did a deep cleaning up here in the community room.
Oh, it was closed. Okay, and. Okay, so they deep clean every month, every 2 weeks, every.
Yeah, usually there's a lot of events they'll do more of a
Okay.
deep cleaning, which when they do a deep clean, they more attention to the floors, the windows, dusting. It goes a little bit further than just their normal trash pickup and sweeping.
Okay. Do they do the bathroom?
They're supposed to do the bathroom.
Because the floor was sticky today when I went in there.
That could be because they didn't get
Ain't
to
no
mop in
paper
there.
towels and. Well, why can't it be the thing?
What kind of machine is in there? Is it the
It's an automatic.
Where you don't have to touch to get,
is it black?
yes.
Okay, so the reason for that is when we had an event in here, the people that had the event broke all of our towel dispensers,
Oh.
which we kept their deposit and everything. So we had to order new ones. So the new ones don't fit the old paper towels, but they also don't make the old model. So we have to use what we have, and that's how we do it. And we're almost to the point where we can buy new paper towels that actually fit in the machine. I tried to get the same ones. It didn't work. This was a while ago.
One that's good, is this a follow-up?
Wait.
Oh, excuse me.
I just had one question.
Just a moment. So is Councilmember Hines the next person to go? I just want to make sure. Yes, Councilmember Hines.
Just want to ask one question. Toys for Tot. I mean, can we get a big box downstairs and any, wrapped, it doesn't even have to be wrapped, unwrapped, new presence, you know, where, yeah. Can we get something downstairs?
Do we have a point of contact for Toys for Tots, or are we just doing it where the town's getting it and dropping it off to a place?
Yes, a place where, yes, yes.
Okay, yes, we'll get a box and we'll do a text alert, and we'll also put a thing up that says donate here, the town will drop it to Toys for Tots.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did,
Council President McDonald.
Did we go back to what the amount that we had, the $5,000 that was allocated, what was the amount changed to, Mr. O'Connor?
I just cleared off a bit. I had it up. One second. Yeah, I think it was 3,000. Right? So it's 3,000
3,000, okay,
for the council.
for council, okay.
No. For the council.
For the whole
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson.
I have one more department report for the Ombudsman monthly report. On the second page, he has fees removed, vehicle plate captured, and image differs from registration information. Total fees removed, plate image mismatch. So my question was, what does this mean and how does this happen? And how do they resolve it? They give the people, they rescind the ticket or what, what happens?
Let's get that
I know.
investigate and get it answered and get the answer back to council if you can. All right. We're at the end. This is it. No, this is it.
One is, ma'am.
Is this related to a report?
Yes.
Okay.
This is relating to what we said earlier. Ms. Hawkins came here to request a closed meeting. And I'm just going back to what was the resolve for that? Are we going to bring it back up for December 18th or?
We have a closed session, so if we can't resolve the matter before December 18th, we'll have a closed session on the 18th concerning that matter. Oh. All right. Well, that brings us to the close of our agenda. You have something? Councilmember Noble.
for the good. I'll check with Mr. Connor, but next Wednesday, Dementia Friendly South County will have their meeting in the building at 6:30. Every quarter. Thank
What's
you.
the date?
Whatever next Wednesday is.
I know that, but what do you?
I don't know that. Next Wednesday. I think it's the 12th.
Next Wednesday is the 11th.
Oh,
See?
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. And with good news at the end, the time is now 11:20. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone. Be safe.